guys, it's your boy Dylan the Villain, and we're coming back at you once again with some more Total Extreme Wrestling 2020. It is Sunday, week 1 of November 1997. We're in front of 5,000 strong, and we are going to go ahead and open up the pre-show of Sunday Night Heat, and about that had terrible wrestling and organization crowd heat. Vampiro and Gangrel defeat the Headbangers when Vampiro pinned Mosh with a nail in the coffin. The match got a 47. Gangrel with a 49. Gangrel with a 43. I'm sorry. Vampiro with the 49. Thrasher with a 39 and Mosh with a 37. Mosh and Thrasher has the tag team specialist bonus. And announcing and color commentary gave the match a boost. We are going to go ahead and move on to the pre-show main event, which is Fit Finlay taking on Al Snow. And Al Snow picked up a win against Fit Finlay. The match got a 62. This could have been on the main show. In a pre-show bout that had decent wrestling, not decent crowd heat. Al Snow defeats Fit Finlay after a snowplow. Al Snow picks up a win. Here tonight, we go ahead and move on to the main show. A 97, not bad. And it's Shane McMahon. And he comes out and he says, as you know, Sunday Night Heat has become its own little brand. I guess we can say its own little show. While Raw and SmackDown showcases are more main event level guys, Sunday Night Heat has become a proving ground, a testing ground for some of our guys who are trying to find their way in the card and trying to find their position on the card. Guys who are still in FCW and our ECW territories, trying to make a name, trying to prove themselves on the World Wrestling Federation roster to deserve a spot on the main roster. And as y'all know, I have become the commissioner of the World Wrestling Federation. And I'm not going to use Sunday Night Heat as a B show. No, I want these guys who are on Sunday Night Heat to prove why they belong on Raw is War and why they belong on SmackDown. This is a testing ground for the future and upcoming stars of the World Wrestling Federation. If you're planning on, if you tuned in tonight to see Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Chris Jericho, Big Show, Undertaker, Dude Love, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, any of those guys, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but those guys will not be showcased on Sunday Night Heat. Sunday Night Heat will be a chance for these young talent, these young, hungry talent, trying to prove themselves and trying to show why they not only are the future of the World Wrestling Federation, but our future of the World Wrestling Federation is in good hands. On Sunday Night Heat, we'll be showcasing some of this future talent. The ball's in their court. All they got to do is put it through the hoop and score. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome y'all to Sunday Night Heat. And then we go on to our opening contest. I'm sorry, we go to a segment and all of a sudden this following segment has been paid by the Blue World Order. The Blue World Order, what the hell is the Blue World Order? It's the BWO, the Blue World Order. We see a parody of what seems to be the NWO of Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hollywood Hogan, but it's Stevie Richards, and he seems to be parodying Kevin Nash, and the Blue Meanie seems to be a Razor Ramon type gimmick, while Hollywood Nova copies Hulk Hogan's mannerisms. And they come out and they say, you know, there's a group out there in another company who claims that they're taking over. that their new world is taking over. Well, you see, me, Hollywood, and Big Stevie Cool, we don't like it, Chico. We don't like it one bit. And we're here in the World Wrestling Federation to prove that everything is better when it's blue. So tonight, you're going to see Big Stevie Cool prove why that the Blue World Order is taking over the World Wrestling Federation, Chico. And he throws the Blue Mini throws his toothpick, and we move on to that segment. And it is Big Stevie Cool taking on Scotty 2 Hotty, and Big Stevie Cool wins with the Stevie Kick. The match got a 47. Big Stevie Cool with a 45, and Scotty 2 Hotty with a 44. Announcing color commentary gave the match a boost. Big Stevie Cool picks up a win here tonight on Sunday Night Heat. Oh, okay. Yes. In this segment, as we know, Jushin Thunder Liger has been trying to build up his reputation here in the World Wrestling Federation after leaving New Japan to come here to test his waters in America and prove why he's one of the best he's one of the best light heavyweights in the world. And he kind of had a beef going on with the Prince, Brian Lawler, as we know is Jerry the King Lawler's son. The Prince, Brian Lawler, basically had a problem with him. A couple weeks ago, we seen this guy named the Hurricane show up and basically team up with Jushin Thunder Liger. But now they have a third member, and Hurricane's talking to Liger backstage, and he's just like, "Look, buddy, I know what you're capable of. The Hurricane knows what you're capable of. And with my sidekick, Shark Boy, we can be the new superheroes of the World Wrestling Federation." And Liger's just like, "Oh, yeah." You know, he just kind of shakes his head, and he's just like, "That's right. I, the Hurricane, along with Shark Boy and the Thunder of the Liger, with our superpowers combined, there's nobody who can stop us in the World Wrestling Federation if we team together. What do you say, Liger?" And Liger kind of puts his hand on his chin, and he's fixing to go say something, and all of a sudden we hear Jerry the King Lawler come up, and he goes, "What the heck is this? Once again, I find myself surrounded by complete idiots. What do you think, Brian?" And Brian goes, "My word, these young lads believe that they're some superheroes." And Jerry the King Lawler, he kind of laughs, and he goes, "Exactly. What kind of fantasy land you believe in, buddy? This is the real world. There's no such thing as superheroes. There's no such thing as good guys. You know, there's no such thing as superheroes. Who do you think you are? Batman? Superman? Spider-Man? It doesn't matter what type of man you are, because you literally got boy in your name." And Shark Boy kind of just stands there, and he's like, you know, like, what? And he goes, "Look, I tell you what. Y'all think y'all man enough?" He's like, "Next week, I'll let one of y'all take on my son, Brian Lawler. Y'all here to prove yourselves in the light heavyweight division? Well, prove yourself by taking on the Prince of the light heavyweight division." And Liger kind of looks at him, and he's like, he goes to say something, and Hurricane's just like, "You know what? I will take on that challenge." You know, he kind of pushed Liger aside, and he's like, "You know what? I will take on that challenge. You want to make fun of me and my superpowers? Well, I tell you one thing, Jerry the King Lawler. The only thing that you're king of is the fast food line. And we'll see you next week. I'm out." And then he flies away. And Shark Boy kind of just stands there, and he's just like, and then he runs off after the Hurricane, and Liger's kind of like, you know, he's confused to what happened along with Jerry the King Lawler and Brian Lawler. And they're just like, what the heck? You know, so next week we are going to see the Hurricane take on the Prince, Brian Lawler. In this match, we have a tag team matchup with TNA taking on the Godwins and Test submitted Phineas O'Godwin. The match got a 40, Test with a 53, and A-Train with a 50. Phineas and Henry with a 48 and 49 respectively. A-Train debuted his ass kicker gimmick. It got great. And Test debuted his badass gimmick, which got very good. Phineas O'Godwin have the tag team specialist bonus. Not to call commentary rating match boost. The crowd wasn't interested in having a match outside the pre-show between workers that they're just not interested in. Well, that's sad to hear. We're going to move on to the next segment, which got a 35. I thought it was going to do better, but you know, it is what it is. So we see we see this man, you know, and he's kind of like in a priest robe and everything, and you know, he has the shades on, and he's doing his little hand gestures and everything like that. And Father James Mitchell walks up, and he starts laughing and everything, and he's chuckling and giggling, and he goes, "You see, I noticed here in the World Wrestling Federation that Shane McMahon came on earlier tonight and said that Sunday Night Heat will be a proving ground, a testing ground, a stomping ground for young, hungry talent looking to make themselves known here in the World Wrestling Federation. He says that these guys are the future. Now, I've been in FCW along with my partner, Christopher Daniels, and we have been preaching the good word of our Savior. You see, the Bible says that he who lives without sin shall cast the first stone, or something like that. But you see, there's no man that was perfect. No man walked this earth. No man sat on this earth who was perfect. And why should you live your life in fear that one day a man from the sky is going to come down and punish you and smite you? But yet he loves you. He loves you more than anything. But yet he's going to come down from the skies and punish every single person who lives their life. Why should you be punished for something that he's given you free will? So what if you want to eat that hot dog? So what if your neighbor's wife has a, let's just say, the perfect assets that you took notice to? So what if you lie? So what if you steal? He's gave you the free will. And with that free will, myself and my partner, Christopher Daniels, are here in the World Wrestling Federation to prove that life is a lot better when you let go. Because I am Father James Mitchell, and I preach the word of the fallen angel. And then we see a zoom in of Christopher Daniels, and you know, he puts his hands together like he's praying, and he looks up and he gives a half smile. This segment got a 35. I thought it was going to do a little bit better. James Mitchell is a little bit better on promos than Daniels is, but you know, hey, what can we do? We're going to move on to the next segment. Big hype for Christopher Daniels. We're going to move on to the next segment here. And it is Billy Gunn taking on Mr. Perfect, and Billy Gunn picks up a win. The match got a 61. Billy Gunn with a 57 and Mr. Perfect with a 60. Billy Gunn picks up the win with a Fein Asser. Match got a 61. We're going to move on to the next segment of the night, which got a 100. And we see a clip of we found some. I'm sorry, it's not a clip. We see APA backstage. You know, they're drinking beer and they're playing cards. The Acolyte Protection Agency. You know, for those of y'all don't know who APA is, people would pay them to take care of their problems or protection or take out somebody or any of that. And we see Kurt Angle, as we seen on SmackDown. He beat Rey Mysterio. Something happened with the Big Show. Big Show got taken out and everything. And we see him backstage, and they're playing cards and everything like that, you know. And we see Kurt Angle, and he walks up, and Kurt Angle goes, "Guys," he goes, "I just want to thank y'all for everything that you did on SmackDown." And Farouk and Bradshaw kind of look at each other and are like, "We don't know what you're talking about." And they give Kurt Angle a wink, and Kurt's just like, "What do you mean you don't know what I'm talking about? You know, I paid you to take out the Big Show, so I didn't have to worry about him and everything." And Farouk kind of just puts his hands up. He goes, "We know what you're talking about. All right? Once we fulfill a contract, we don't like talking about it. It's just business, you know." And speaking of business, you have the other half of that money. Kurt Angle goes, "Oh yes, right here." And he puts the briefcase on the table and he opens it up, you know, and it's a whole bunch of like 20s and everything, and it's all nicely neat and everything. And he goes, "Just what y'all wanted, $10,000. And he opens up the briefcase, and it's just like a little stack of like 20s, and you know, like it's just like a little tiny stack. And Farouk's like, "You know, they always make it look cooler in the movies." And Bradshaw's like, "Yeah, I know, right?" He goes, "Well, here's your 5,000. Here's my 5,000. He's like, "Kurt, it's a pleasure doing business with you." And Kurt's just like, "Yeah, well, that's the thing, okay? I know that I owed you this other half of the money, but I know the Big Show's gonna be on Monday nights Raw, you know, and I was just wondering if y'all can, you know, make sure that he doesn't feel the need to get revenge, as you say." And Farouk and Bradshaw looks at each other and goes, "So you looking for protection?" And Kurt's like, "Yeah." And Bradshaw goes, "Well, hell, son, that's all you had to say. You know the asking price, another 10 grand." And Kurt's just like, "Well, you see, I was kind of hoping I could get a loyal customer discount." And Farouk's like, "A loyal customer discount? You only paid us one time to take somebody." And Kurt's like, "Hey, one time is enough, right? You know, I mean, I'm a loyal customer here." And Farouk kind of just shakes his head, and he kind of just like, "Nah, man, we don't have that kind of policy." He's like, "It's $10,000. You know the fee." And Kurt's just like, "Well, I don't have that kind of money, you know, like $10,000 is a lot." And the Farouk and Bradshaw kind of looks at each other, and they shrug their shoulders, and it's like, "Ain't our problem." And Kurt's just like, "Oh wow, really, guys, really?" He goes, I'll tell you what. Somehow I'll get the money and I'll get back to y'all, okay? Just make sure y'all on Raw Monday." And Farouk and Bradshaw goes, "Whatever." They kind of like show him off, and they continue to play cards and everything like that. So we find out that Kurt Angle paid APA to take out the Big Show before the match. So you didn't have to worry about Big Show in that triple threat match. So Kurt Angle can beat Rey Mysterio and become the new number one contender for the Intercontinental Championship. I'm sure Big Show is going to have a lot to say about that on Monday Night Raw. If he's at Monday Night Raw, we're going to have to see. Announced the color commentary could have been better. Kurt Angle looked good, and Kurt Angle benefited from having crowd support. The segment got a 100. Not bad at all. We are going to move on to the next segment, which is Dr. Death, Steve Williams, taking on Rick Steiner, and he squashes Rick Steiner. I mean, he squashes him in 3 minutes and 22 seconds by pinfall with the Oklahoma Stampede. The match got almost a 60, a 59. Rick Steiner with a 62, and Steve Williams with a 73. Dutch Mantell did some great ring work. As we know, he is the manager of Dr. Death, Steve Williams. Steve Williams benefited having from Hot to Move. After the match, Steve Williams starts to beat the hell out of a legend like Rick Steiner. And he's beating the hell out of him. And out comes Scott. We haven't seen Scott in a while. Scott comes out, and he saves his brother Rick. He chases off Dr. Death Steve Williams. And Scott grabs the mic, and he goes, you know, I find it pretty funny that you can come out here and beat up a 40-something-year-old man with a son at home. You see, you've been ducking and dodging and weaving and taking on people that you know that you can beat lickety-split. Well, you think you're a big man. Why don't next week you take on Big Papa Pump Scott Steiner? Unless you a little man and scared. You keep saying that the era of death is upon us. Well, I ain't scared of death, and I sure in the hell ain't scared of you. You washed up wannabe who couldn't cut it in Japan, unlike me and my brother Rick. You can't cut it anywhere, and you had to have your friend Jim Ross get you a contract here and try to make you out to be a badass man. Well, I'm going to tell you something, buddy. You ain't shit. I'm the badass man, and I'm going to make you my bitch, just like I'm going to make your wife a bitch. And when I lay you in the middle of the ring, screaming in pain, I'm going to take your old lady back to the hotel room and make her scream my name, because I am the big bad booty daddy, Scott Steiner. You know, kiss his muscles. He goes, what do you say? And Dutch he laughs a little bit. And Steve Williams he shakes his head, he rubs his hands together. And he goes, son, Dutch Mantell looks at Scott and he goes, son, you just signed your death certificate. We'll see you next week on Heat. Oh, we'll see you alright. So next week we're going to see Scott Steiner taking on Dr. Death, Steve Williams. This match got the segment got a 68, almost a 69. Scott Steiner came off well. Scott Steiner struggled when going off script. Dutch Mantell improvised well, and Dutch Mantell benefited from having that hot new catchphrase. We're going to move on to our next segment, which is our main event of the night, which got a 79, not bad, but it is RVD, Rob Van Dam, taking on Dean Malenko. Rob Van Dam beats Dean Malenko by pinfall after a 5-star frog splash. Rob Van Dam, super hot in the tri-state area, with a 97, and Dean Malenko with an 88. The match deserved better commentary. RVD and Jim Cornette have pretty good chemistry together. This match got a 76. Could have did better in my eyes, but we are going to move on to our next segment, which got an 88. Not bad. Not bad at all. Jim Cornette struggled going off script. That's kind of hard to believe, but it's been a while since I did my Jim Cornette, so hopefully I don't have no water, so that's going to suck. But after the match, Jim Cornette, he gets on the microphone and he goes, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I have proven why my client, Rob Van Dam, is the must-see athlete on any television, wrestling television program. Whether he's on Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, or Sunday Night Heat, unfortunately, he is the main event. He is the show stealer, and he proves time and time again why he is the best wrestler in the World Wrestling Federation. I done spoke on this once before, and I will speak on it again. You have a wrestler out there who thinks that he can use Rob Van Dam's finishing move and it'll be okay. My client not only does the frog splash, but it's a 5-star frog splash. It's the best frog splash in the business. And anybody else doing a frog splash is a complete and utter embarrassment. Now, we already had problems with Eddie Guerrero in the past. And Eddie keeps ducking and weaving, ducking and dodging, not answering our request. Well, Eddie, I want to tell you personally, right here, right now. It doesn't matter if you're on Raw. It doesn't matter if you're on SmackDown. It doesn't matter if you're on Heat. We know you're in the back. And we want your answer right now. Man versus man. What's it gonna be? Who is the better of you two? You keep saying that you're best, that you're destined for greatness, just like Rob Van Dam. But so far you have proven to be nothing more than a transitional champion. So I tell you what, Eddie. It doesn't matter what show you want to answer us on. We're going to be in the back, and we're going to be waiting for your answer. So we'll be waiting, Eddie. Because if you don't answer us soon, we'll give you the answer for you. And Jim Cornette drops the mic, and we go ahead and finish the show. The show got a 86. Not bad for a B show. Not bad for a B show. We're going to go ahead and finish the show. Devin Michaels. Bo High Voltage along with Bo Vegas. Alright. Let's see if we got anything in the news here like we usually do. Nothing nothing I'm too concerned about, it looks like. What the hell? Alright. I hate how the game just makes fake people like that and uses, whatever. But, thank y'all for watching this episode of TEW, of Slaying the Heat. I highly appreciate it, guys. My name is Dylan the Villain. Thank y'all for watching. Let's see here. And if you like this episode and new to the channel, subscribe icon will be over the Slaying the Heat logo. If you like this episode and want to go back and watch previous episodes, that playlist will be over last night results. And if you want to catch the last pay-per-view, No Mercy, and catch up with everything, that show will be right here, our last pay-per-view. My name is Dylan the Villain, guys, and like we always say here at Program Gaming, if you can't play with each other, do what I'm doing right now, and play with yourself. We'll see y'all on Monday Night Raw.